Hello again. I am Ray Weber.
I'm Jenny, and we're Weber Family Reviews, and we've been working on our two-player games. So these are games that can be played two-player primarily. You can play some of them as teams, and we have. Some of them can be played solo, things like that, but they're primarily meant to be played two-player, and we ranked all of them. We own 34 sitting around us. Well, actually, we've got a couple more that could be part of this, we discovered as we went through the list.
However, hold on. We rushed the last one because the camera was indicating that it was going to die. So this one we can probably go slower, or it might just die on us. We'll have to redo it.
Yeah, that's okay. So we're down to 1 through 9.
Why don't you start with your 9?
Okay, so my number 9 is 1960, The Making of the President, which is right here. And this is really a big, huge, grandiose game, but it's very historically. GMT Games does a good job of the card play. I mean, you're gonna really feel like you think. Did you get it? Number 9.
I guessed it would be your number 9.
Good job. You did really good. You very much feel like you are fighting this presidential election. There's a lot of really good historical tidbits in it, so it's something that you could even teach with if you wanted to. But it is a very big, very long game. So just, be warned.
It's shorter than some.
Yes.
We'll get to that. My number 9 is One Small Step,
which I put for you somewhere. Oh, all the way down to 23. The problem with this, and we're kind of rushing through.
Rulebook was awful.
So this is one of those games that every time we play it, we're like, oh my god, this is awesome. We love this game. But every time we look at the rule book and we go, ugh, I have to do this. And there's no good videos for it.
No.
And the rule book just really, really sucks.
I hope we're playing it right.
So we've said this before. Academy Games needs to get their rule books together. They just need to pay someone to do it because they obviously do not know how to write a rule book that is readable. He's better. Years of miniature gaming, he's really good at dissecting rule books. I'm not as much, and that's very much a turnoff. And for someone coming into, especially something like this, which really feels like the space base, very historical. If you're into that theme, but you're going to be just put off by that rule set. And so if you're not a gamer, that rule set, you can't get through it. You can't. It makes no sense. There's subsections of subsections, and it has no order whatsoever. Okay, I've ranted enough.
It's okay.
That's okay. My number 8 is 1812, which is the invasion of Canada, which is here, under here. These, spoiler alert, these are all going to kind of go, this is the birth of the U.S. and the birth of Europe. They're going to kind of go in order. For me, it depends on the day of the week, which one I like better. I don't really think they are. Now, I think 1812 is probably, and he said this, probably the simplest, the most straightforward of them. But their area control games I actually like. I like the historical nature of it. Were you close? You put it up there too.
So here's the thing. So far I have 2 in your top 10.
Okay.
Already guessed, and you only have 1.
Oh.
Or you
well,
have
number
9.
10 what did I put as number 10 for you? Oh, so that's gonna probably be in your number.
Yeah, it'll be in my top 10.
So, anyways, so where was it? Oh, 1812. So 1812, and you can play it in factions if you want, but it's meant to be played 2-player. And so, but the card play, historical nature, great, but again, not the best rule book. But this is a much easier game to play, so the rule book is not as big an issue as it is for something like One Small Step.
Fields of Arrow's my 8.
And I had it as 10 for him, so I'm 1 into that. Fields of Arrow sitting here.
I enjoy Fields of Arrow a lot. I'm not a big person that likes Uwe's farming games. But
I love them all.
This one works really well, and I like it. It plays different. It's a different worker placement style. You have less specific problems that I had with Agricola, Caverna even. So I like this one a lot. Fields of Arrow.
My number 7 is 1775. We're pretty much just going in order here. At 1754, the other one was down farther, and just again because I played it least. But 1775 we play almost every year on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I'm Brown and Sherman. I don't think I've won as the British yet.
No.
I want to, just because, to be different. But it's really fun. You can play, this one is either 2 or 4. This one, 1812, you can play as 3 or 5.
And they can't really see it, but there's you look at them, it's 2 and 4, 3 and 5, 2 and 4, or 2 and 4. So if you want the 2, 3, or 5, you got to go 18-12.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's a good historical.
Yeah.
If you like area control, you'll like it. But I don't even like area control, and I like it. So
I had that as an 11. It's hard because you mix those up a lot.
I do. They all. It depends on the day of the week. Like those could go in any order. So
Spirits of the Wild is my number 7, and if you can find this anywhere, it's gonna be cheap. We bought Target out at one point because they put them on clearance for like $5 a piece, and we've enjoyed this game a ton.
but this is your number 3, so I was in your top 10 with that one. I'm at 2.
Yeah, fine.
No, that one's a lot of fun. I like it. It was pretty high on mine. I think it was somewhere on mine. But anyways, it's fun and it's quick and it's easy, and the components are really nice.
Yep.
My number 6 is 878. I told you they were on the go.
That I figured was your.
And really, I think this entire pile, you could do it then. This is the most complex of them. We'd mentioned that when we hit his. This one definitely, that's not the starter one. If you haven't played a lot of those, play one of these 3. But this one, if you want more in depth, you want more strategy, you want more control, that's the one for you.
Still awful rule books.
Yes, still awful rulebook.
Number 6, we talked about it before. We're gonna talk about it now. Star Wars deck building game.
I put it as 7 for you.
It's pretty solid, yeah. Star Wars deck building game. One of the most thematic deck builders you got out there. You can't buy to put in your deck your opponents. You can buy neutrals.
But you can take them out, which is really cool. So like,
in the buy row, you can destroy it instead.
So like, for instance, he's the Rebels and Darth Vader comes out. I can attack and kill Darth Vader before he can get him, so then he can't add that really cool card.
If you are the Rebels. If I'm the Rebels, you don't get. I get to attack him.
Yes. So the idea being though is you can do that. So it's really cool.
All right. What's your number 5?
Agricola, all creatures great and small.
Do you want to sneak around and grab it? You might as well.
Yeah.
We're top 10 in it.
So this is Agricola all play, and I just love that you've got your little farmer meeple, you've got all your little animals, and you get to rearrange your farmstead. And I love doing all that. The app for this isn't bad, but I like playing with all the little cute pieces.
That one's a better game. That one is less complex and quicker, and it is less punishing than the original Agricola, where if you didn't do everything, you will fail.
It's also less, there's less steps to it. It's definitely streamlined. So if you liked all the bits and bobs of Agricola, you like the big, massive, you're not going to like this as much, but for both of us, this is definitely less. There's a lot more flexibility in it, but you still get the feeling of building the cool different things and building up your farm and collecting your little animals and rearranging your farmstead.
If you're going to do 2-player big, Fields of Arrow, you're going to do 2-player quick or smaller, all creatures big and small.
Yeah, and he put as my 4, so he was pretty close.
My number 5 is Glasgow. We talked about it last time. Basically, you're playing tiles for points, but your action selection rondelli-ish thing is really cool, and it's just fun. It's a quick, fun, but relatively thinking game. And yeah, I'm covering my face.
I had it as your number 8, so I had it in your top 10 too. I know he really likes Glasgow.
I do.
And it's really cool. It feels fit. You got that worker placement. It's a great game. My number 4 is Star Trek Fleet Captains.
Hold tight. So is mine.
Ha! We matched up.
Fleet Captains.
This is both of our number 4s, Fleet Captains. This is again a big grandiose game, but this feels like Star Trek. If you want to feel like you're playing Star Trek, so does Star Trek Panic, honestly. But this one, that exploration bit of it, that you feel like you're turning it over, this feels like
if you can find it.
Yeah.
It is a great game that has lousy components.
Yeah.
Lousy components.
The tiles are like
paper thin.
Yes, they're not
But
good.
we've also had the reverse where the Klingons were doing all the science and the Federation was just blowing them up. It is a great game where you search, you go through, you're exploring. It's kind of a 4X. Explore, exploit, exterminate, and the other one that I never remember. It's a great game, plays well, can take a while, and again, the rulebook, that one's better than the Academy Games, but not by a lot. So
this one's a pretty once you get it, it's a pretty straightforward game.
Yep.
So that helps. And you can play at teams.
Yeah. And we've done that before.
Yes, and you can actually play at 3-player because we have the Romulan expansion. I'm not sure we've ever done that, but you can.
We've done the Romulan. We haven't done the Dominion.
Yeah. So there's.
And we have that one too.
Yeah, we have all the expansions. So.
Your number 3.
My number 3 is Seven Wonders Duel, which is over there. We talked about this before. He doesn't love this one, but I really do. First of all, I like just base Seven Wonders. We also really like Seven Wonders Architects.
Yeah.
But I really like this one. I like the quick nature. I like that there's different ways past to victory. We've actually, I think one of us has actually won with a military victory.
One of us has won with each of the victory
he won economics one time. I wasn't paying enough attention. He won an economic victory because there's the 3.
The science.
Science. But I think it's considered an economic victory.
Could be. I don't remember.
But anyways, with the little science.
Science.
But he won that way because I wasn't paying enough attention to the fact that he was collecting them. All of a sudden, he had them, and those just stopped the game. That and military, you win. Whereas you get to the end, then you compare points. So. That's really cool. I enjoy Seven Wonders Duel.
My number 3 is Dice Throne, which is probably not a surprise.
No, I put it as number 4 for him.
I like Dice Throne a lot. You like it better than I thought you did. It is just, you're rolling a Yahtzee to do things based on upgrades that you've gotten. And so there's some card play, you've got cards, you play cards, and your attack is dice, but then they get to defend against it. It's great. This is the Marvel one, so you got Miles Morales, Captain Marvel, Black Widow. I have all of them. Season 1,
We
season
have
2.
Santa Claus versus Crumpet, which is fun.
Yes, but Santa Claus whoops his butt.
Yeah, he does. Santa Claus.
Santa Claus is hard to beat.
But it is fun. It's quick and it's easy, and I like the card play. And I mentioned this in an earlier bit. I like that you have that defense. To me really helps in any of these fighty games.
As the games start to pile up in the middle.
Yes. Okay. Now my number 2 is Cave versus Cave Caverna. Now I like both of these a lot.
I like that one better than Agricola, not by a whole lot, but by enough.
I like both of these. I think one of the reasons I like Caverna better is because he likes it better. I actually like all the little animals better in All Creatures Great, so I love the cuteness factor.
You just want the animals.
Yeah.
Animals.
I like this. We just played Era 2. I can't say either of us were in love with Era 2, which is the expansion, but we also need to play it again to see how it goes. It adds actually a fair bit of link to the game, more than we thought was necessarily necessary, because one of the pluses of both of these is that they're a much shorter version than the full Agricola and the full Caverna.
We're giving it like 40 minutes, and that's probably accurate without the expansion.
Yeah. And we don't own the full Agricola, we do own the full Caverna.
And I like the full Caverna way better than Agricola.
Yeah. I really like that. I like what I can build, and what can I put in my thing, and that I feel like it's different. And that's one of the things that I liked about Era 2 is, what's new in here that I can do? I want that, but I necessarily didn't need the extra links, so we'll have to see.
All right. I love it. I like Lord of the Rings. And War of the Ring is the Lord of the Rings trilogy in a game. It plays well.
As number 2, so
it's very thematic. You put it as my number 1.
Oh yeah, your number 1, and it was your number 2, so I got it just backwards.
I enjoy this a lot. She has won with a military victory with the Free People by dumb luck and going north.
It was not dumb luck.
Gandalf should have died.
Yeah, but he's Gandalf.
That's the point.
So, He had to call his friends and tell them, but
we've never seen that before where the free people won with I had to call them. They were confused.
The one thing about that is you have to get everyone to war, and I just got the right cards. But still, it was fun to do.
Oh, you did. And you enjoyed that game. That was the shortest game on record.
The biggest thing with it, I would say most of our plays of War of the Ring are very memorable, and I remember them and I enjoy them, but I'm never going to pick to play it, is what it comes down to. Now, my number one is actually Fields of Arle here, this one. And I like farming games. Plain and simple, I do. And this one has that big, grandiose feeling of a farming game that I like. And I think actually I like that better than I do Agricola. I'm not sure I have to look at my whole thing to know. I actually think I probably like it better than I like Caverna. But I like them all.
Yeah.
I like to go farm.
I bought an organizer to try and make that easier to set up.
Yeah. And I like really all the Uwe games. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that I really feel like I'm getting that farming experience. And that's probably it's a very in-depth. I mean, some of these are definitely bigger games, but this feels like a big, meaty game. Whereas these two don't feel as much, so I think that's one of the reasons that came out ahead. Like, if I had the time, I'd rather get that big, meaty Fields of Arle than play the quicker version, although we get the other two at the table more often.
Well, and War of the Ring is another one of the big ones where a lot of my, like, Dice Throne and Glasgow and Star Wars deck building and Spirits of the Wild, those are all.
And they hit the table more because we can throw down in the night.
All right, my favorite two-player primary, or two-player, is Undaunted.
And I put as number 2 Prince. I just messed up as 1 and 2.
I actually really do enjoy the deck building, unique deck building. Because you got to play the commander who can actually call for reinforcements to enhance your deck to do more. At the same time, there is, and this is the miniature gamer in me, you're moving chits around to try and get to the point where you can accomplish a mission. You don't actually have to kill anything on most missions. You just got to get more strategic points than your opponent.
There's a mission objective. It's all about hitting the objectives, and how you do that's up to you. Obviously, yes, taking out some often is in your best interest, but you don't necessarily have to. And we have some really big expansions downstairs to play that we have.
Stalingrad and Battle of Britain, but we have played these, and honestly, I think that one's probably one of the more unique deck builders that I've ever played, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Like, again, it's not hugely my thing, but I like the historical nature of it, and I like the uniqueness of the card playing. I think it's nice that they've managed to take deck building, which we all know how to play, and make it something slightly different and feel different.
Yeah.
Because you're not buying cards like you are in the other ones. You're calling them. You're creating your units. And so it does have a very different feel to how it plays. But you take these Fog of War cards that mix up your hand. And again, it makes very much thematic sense. I think they've done a really good job with it, and it'll be interesting to see what they do in some of the expansions we haven't got played.
And a special note that we did not end up playing is Fox in the Forest. I almost don't count this. This is a trick-taking card game. It's got specific suits, but it's a trick-taking card game, but designed for 2-player. It works really well.
We play a lot of it, though. That's one of our travel games. That goes almost everywhere with us, and we've played a lot of games of this. No space.
You can play it on an airplane.
Yep, so. I will say they have a duet of it. We've never played. I don't know why they needed a duet of what was already a 2-player game, but they wanted duels and duets of everything, I guess. So
that's fine. All right.
So those are all our top. We both did pretty good on each other's top 10s. They weren't necessarily in the right order, but we got most of each other's top 10s, so it's pretty good for us.
We actually... The thing is, all of these games, there's not one that the other one would say, "Oh man." Except I think you would do it with Pixel Tactics. You actually don't mind the experience of the War of the Ring and the Battle of 5 Armies, but Pixel Tactics, I think, is one where you would go, "Aw."
Yeah, that probably is true. That's probably because the other ones where I might not pick them, I enjoy and remember my experiences of them, and I think he can say the same thing about some of the other ones that I play. The only thing, is there anything here that I think you would go, "Oh, you're really gonna make?" And maybe Rivals of Catan.
Nah, Rivals of Catan was way higher.
Yeah.
Probably Agricola, all creatures small.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
So that's probably the one. Yeah, he would probably be least excited to play, but they're just so cute. So. Okay.
Alright.
Well, hopefully it gives you some ideas on some 2-player games if you are someone who plays a lot of 2-player games.
Or you want to try and play some stuff. Maybe that's